watching QTV Youth Dialogue, and I am Jenna Bosonko. It's always good to be back here. So today we have a show that's very, very packed, but to start with, I went all the way in Central River region, Jahalipacha rice fields, to take the amazing work that they're doing when it comes to rice cultivation. So the founder of Maro Farms is Musa Dabo. So Musa Dabo left a $100,000 salary in the United States of America as a telecommunications engineer and came back to the Gambia to pursue rice cultivation. He came up with the Maro Farms. At some point wanted to leave because the productivity wasn't all that. But when Chinese agricultural experts arrived in the to come up with rice varieties that are very resistant to the climate of the Gambia, and all of a sudden he became successful. So he said to himself, I am not going to stop here, with cultivating rice, selling it and empowering myself, but I'm going to open my doors to young Gambians, because 80% of the rice that we consume as a country is imported. Only 20% is cultivated in the Gambia, and we have a long way to go. And the only way that we can achieve this is through the empowerment of young people, just so they believe that there's a future in rice cultivation in the Gambia. So I hope this clip will inspire you, for every individual out there, to believe that rice cultivation is possible in the Gambia, and young people are embracing it. All they need is a little bit of push, a little bit of investment, and they will take it to the next level. Let's take a look at this Jahalipacha rice fields in CRR. We'll be right back.
My name is Aissatou Gay. What motivated me to be an agriculturist or to be part of this program? Since I was young, I like agriculture so much. Since I was young, I normally go with my mother is a gardener. I do go with my mom to the field, rice fields, to the garden. So that's why I really like agriculture. And I studied agriculture, high diploma in agriculture. I even wanted to go to the university. But at the Gambia College, there's more of theory than the practical. So that's why I decided to come here to learn practical, more of practical, before going to the University of the Gambia. That's why I'm here. And we are really happy to be part of this program, empowered by Roots Project and P2P2RS in collaboration with Maro Farms. They are supporting 20 youths and our assistants. So this is a great initiative for us, and we are very happy to be part of this program. I see the future very bright with us, the youths. I see it very bright, because I believe with this, we will be able to have food sufficiency in the Gambia. So it's really important to us, and it's a great initiative. It will, of course, because we are 20 in number, we all have our assistants. With that, for me, I have my own company's name, Isa Seed Enterprise. So with this, I can able to bring other people to also come and work here. With that, I believe the future is bright. Right now, the challenges we are facing right now, for example, is water. Sometimes water is a problem. Some of the fields need to be irrigated before starting anything. Water is the biggest challenge here. Sometimes access to finance also is a problem. So if the government can help us, the youths, to have fun, we'll endeavor to be part of this.
First of all, I want to underscore that this has been a dream for me. Ever since I was in the junior school. I remember those days, whenever a teacher came to the class and asked, who wants to become a farmer? I would always be the only one to raise my hands. And colleagues would say, are you mad? What are you going to do with farming? I carried the same motivation all the way. And I got the opportunity to go to the Gambia College to study. I went there, and then I enlisted into the extension services. And from there, here I am, working with Maro Farms. So it has been a dream, and this motivation has always been with me. There's a lot we need to do better, and this will be put in bullet points. But for us, the key thing would have to be with the lands, first of all, because that's the medium of growth. According to studies, the Gambia needs about 20,000 hectares for it to be able to feed itself. But out of that 20, we're talking about 5,000 plus minus hectares that are already prepared under production. We are way less than the target. So it means if we are able to develop 20,000 hectares, put under production at least twice a year, we should be able to meet the target. So the first and foremost has to do with the land. And the land is tied to the water because the water system has to do with the land. When you have a good land, you have a very effective water management and control system. So of course, that too has to be looked at. But away from that, we need to make farming, especially rice farming, a bit more attractive and lucrative, not to the older folk, but to the younger folk, like you're seeing around. It has to appear lucrative, it has to appear attractive for them to be able to come in because they are the manpower. So those has to do with policies that we are putting up to entice those people to come in. But also we have to look at the mechanization aspect of it. And this mechanization is also tied to how much good, how level is your field. You have seen the combine harvesters, they do a lot as far as post-harvest loss savings. They do a lot. The plowing services, we have to mechanize this all the way. That way, people don't have to feel, if I'm to become a farmer, I'll have to spend my whole day doing one activity that I may not be able to complete. People have to feel that once I venture into it, there are means to save cost, save time, and save labor. That way, it can come in. But again, we also have to look at the marketing aspect of it. And this has to do with how much rice are you producing, what's the quality you're producing, and where are you selling your rice. So basically, these are key things that we need to look at to be able to cut the threat on the importation bill. Because again, the materials have it that we're looking at 75 to 80,000 US dollars, millions, that we spend on importation alone. So that alone is an opportunity for us to do better. But these things I mentioned and a few more others need to be in place for us to be able to, get there.
My name is Alandin Jame. I'm a young person and a farmer for that matter. I studied this thing way before coming here, I studied at Gambia Songhai Initiative and in collaboration with the Roots. So there is this program they initiated. So I'm being selected, part of the 10 people that selected from our institution. So I'm here to be collaborating with the people like Maru Farms and with some of the indigenous people. What motivated me to get into agriculture? It might be a long story, but to cut it short, like I was a young person and like I was so very much into sports and I was working with some people, but like thinking deep for myself, like I know that like in order to get to where I wanted to get to, there must be something to be done. So that's how I came and think about it. And I know that it is only agriculture that I can do to get to where I want to be. And the passion with agriculture like also drive me to go and study for this thing. And alhamdulillah, I'm here today, being selected part of the 10 people to come and, do my things here. And as you see, this is a rice production. Like I study so many things. I study integrated farming. So rice production is also part of it. So this is my first time coming here to venture into it. And I found it so very easy. That's why I say it is normal with me because I've been in the system for so long. So coming here and seeing it, though it might be my first time to be doing it, but I find it very easy because of the knowledge I have acquired already. The future is bright. The future is bright. As you can see, there are so many youths here. So like if you want to get there, you must empower some youths, both literally and So we are youths who are ready to go there and who are ready to be part of the value chain production. So rice, as you can see, there's so many rice being imported here, and which is not even good for us. But to come here and venture into it and do it for yourself and empower youths, and so that those youths can go and stand for their own and employ some of the youths as well and train them how to become an entrepreneur so that they can also venture into the rice production. Through that, I believe that soon we can elaborate the importation.
All right. right. Thank you so much for staying with us. That was inserts from the Jahali Pacha rice field in the Central River region. Young people actively participating in rice cultivation in the Gambia. We just need to give them a little bit more attention, a little bit more push. And then with the energy that we're receiving from them, we will go far, one step at a time. And now we will shift our attention to the recent graduation by USET. President Adama Barrow graced it. It was more of a pilot, the first time that Gambia has homegrown engineers. And it was a moment of reflection because usually whenever the University of the Gambia graduation takes place and I'm on the panel analyzing, one of the things that came up over the years that I've been participating in these panel discussions is that we need homegrown engineers, mechanics, more individuals from STEM, kind of giving it a direction of problem-solving careers. I mean, all the other, professions are important, the law, the journalism, and all of that. But then, as technology grows, as Gambia grows, we needed this. And I'm super excited to be joined in the studio by the graduates. Congratulations! You are definitely the stars of the moment.
Thank you.
Yes, we have Fatmata here, Samuel, as well as Loka. You are a familiar face because apart from being an engineer now, you've been into other sectors of advocacy and we've had conversations surrounding that. So Fatmata, to start with, engineering, homegrown engineer, big, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Kind of when you take a look at it, you're like, oh, I'm a homegrown engineer now. So talk to us about the journey because at the time that you were starting, it was not, you weren't a bit sure. I was not a bit sure because it's just recently that support through the World Bank with academic centers, they decided to support young people like you to pursue your dreams in this area. How was the journey?
Basically, it wasn't easy. We faced a whole lot of challenges from the beginning of the journey, but now we will just say Alhamdulillah and give all thanks to Allah. Since we've now graduated fully, and it's an honor to be part of the first batch of grown engineers of the country.
But why engineering? Why? Because at the time, the path wasn't really clear. For example, if you go to the University of the Gambia, it's clear. It's UTG, it's been there, it's been tested, majority of the courses. But with this, there was some sort of uncertainty. So why engineering at GTTI and now USET?
I fell in love with the engineering field when I started my 7th grade. The moment I started doing technical drawing, doing some random designing stuff out of anywhere, that was when I started falling in love with the engineering program. Because back then when I was in primary school, seriously, if anyone asked me, I would be like, I want to be an accountant. I want to be like my uncle. And then my maths teacher will be like, oh, Kale, you're really good with numbers, so I think you'll definitely be a good banker and the like. But the moment I stepped into the technical drawing field, things just changed. The moment I started designing things from anywhere, anyhow, that was when, I definitely fell in love with the engineering program. And then my hobby most of the time was just to play with gadgets and the like. At the beginning, to be frank, I wanted to do software engineering.
Okay, before
pursuing electrical and electronics engineering at USET. At first I wanted to do software engineering. So during my high school, after completing grade 12, I wanted to pursue software engineering outside of the Gambia because by then we don't have such courses in the Gambia. And by then we didn't even have the engineering course in the Gambia though. So, and then my mind was just set that, I gotta leave this country and come back later. But we always say God has the ultimate plan for each and every one of us. So at first, actually, I applied for the USET in 2019 because Corona. I at first applied in 2020 actually during the first cohort. During the first intake, that's the batch that did the pre-engineering. Unfortunately, I didn't go after the applications. I withdrew from it because I wasn't sure that the program was actually gonna go through. So then the Corona came and everything was stuck. I wasn't able to do much. So I decided to reapply again for the 2021 intake. That was when I started with the program, because that was when we delved into the engineering program. Because in 2020, they were doing the pre-engineering program. They were
Okay.
doing more of the science courses.
generals,
The general
yeah.
requirements in
Yeah.
order to do engineering.
Yeah.
That's physics, chemistry,
Yeah.
art, maths, and the
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So in 2021 March, that was when we
Things
started the
being
program.
serious.
Yeah, and I won't forget that date because the first day that I started the engineering course was on my birthday.
Oh wow, that was a
So,
sign, right?
that was a sign,
your
exactly.
sign.
Exactly. But you know, even though I started in 2021, I wasn't sure I was going to complete the program.
Yeah.
The first day I entered the class and saw a whole lot of people sitting, and then I was late. I was like, wow,
Who are all these people?
what?
Yeah.
I've never been in such a class though,
Yeah.
because I think in my entire schooling, the maximum number of students in the class was around 35,
Ana yow
40.
ban school nga dem Fatmata?
Yeah, 40.
Ana
Yeah.
yan school nga dem?
Yeah, I did my primary school at Methodist Preparatory and Kindergarten,
Wow.
and my junior and senior secondary at Gambia Methodist Academy.
Waaw
in
wax
Dakar.
wax dafa leer xam nga ñun mi dem public school buuxante ñun mi dem buuxante public school ñun xam nañ si dara boo ne Methodist rek dama ne wax bi na jeex wax bi na fa jeex ñun xam nañ buuxante classroom boo xam ne dina jël ay 50 nit.
No. That's not the case actually.
Wow. But anyway, we'll get
Yeah.
back to you shortly, Fatmata.
No
Samuel,
problem.
you're the valedictorian. You know, you graduated as the best student of your batch. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel really happy.
Yeah.
One thing I'll have to say is I didn't do it alone. It was a joint effort from my classmates, my friends, my
Yeah.
family as well that helped me, that pushed me really.
Yeah.
Because there were many times during the course of the program that was really difficult. And I did feel like giving up, but having that support system really helped me push
So
through.
did you come in as, I want to be valedictorian since
Oh,
day
no,
one?
no.
It just happened.
It just happened. My thoughts coming in were to study, get my assignments
And
done,
then-
and just graduate.
okay.
But along the way, we were encouraged to work hard, to work with each other, especially because engineering is something you can't do alone.
Okay.
Because there are questions you might have, assignments that if you want to solve alone, you will literally break your head. Sleepless nights, calling people to ask for help. But because of my classmates and my friends that were there, it made it much more easier.
You know what? When you guys came in, the way you guys were chatting and having fun, I could tell that you guys, it was a family. You know, that's why you're sitting here today. And I think education is not a competition. It's just in Africa that sometimes we try to, you know, make it a whole competition. But the moment we make it a family affair, you see that everybody wins because everybody is lighting each other's candle. So I'm happy that that is the approach that all of you guys. So, Loka, tell us about your own journey.
I was one of those who started with the pre-engineering program.
Yeah.
So I've been on the program since 2020
Mm-hmm.
to 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2024.
That's 5 years, right?
So unlike every other person that did 4 years, I was there for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure
Mm-hmm.
if this program would go through, to be honest.
Yeah.
But some sort of hope
Mm-hmm.
and faith in the way the preparations were going.
Yeah.
And the trust we had with the affiliated university,
Yeah, which is
KNUST,
what?
KNUST, the Kwame Nkrumah University
University. Okay.
in Ghana.
In Ghana.
They were academic tutors.
Okay.
So because of the trust we had in them, it will also strengthen,
Kind of
us,
boost your
boost us.
Confidence.
So, yes. I don't think anybody who has seen me here or anywhere else would ever think I would be doing engineering. So it just happened. Like I share a very similar story with
her.
Kale.
Yeah.
I did technical studies or the course technical drawing.
Yeah.
From grade 7 to 9, when every other girl was going in for
Home economics. Yeah.
Like we were just 3 going for technical
Yeah.
drawing. But
You guys went to the same school?
no.
Okay.
She was in Methodist.
Yeah.
Let's respect
Remember the 25 students class.
I was in those.
Yeah.
But then I moved to St. Peter's
Yeah.
because it was a technical school.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with the whole technical
Thing.
issue
Yeah.
and the whole technical thing. And there in St. Peter's as well, the encouragement from the teachers, the encouragement from every other person, like everyone is just willing to go into the sciences.
Yeah.
So it just boosts my curiosity about mechanical engineering, and it dragged me into USAT.
Amazing. That is really amazing. So Fatoumata, being a woman, I mean, it's a male-dominated field. You know, we are not throwing any shades on being a valedictorian. But with all honesty,
Sure.
you know, I'm sure you are aware, you know, of the barriers that exist for women. You know, especially being from African households, the chores, no matter what, you have the chores waiting for you. You have period cramps. You just have so many things as a woman that you deal with. And this is not something that we're making up here. The studies have been done. The studies have been done, and it's been concluded that it's very challenging for women in the field. How did you deal with that? Being a woman, the whole feminine issue with engineering. And just generally, people will be like, oh, he not tomboy. You know, that's the general concept. That's why you go into such fields. Why are you guys laughing? Can you? Is there a secret? Is there something I need to know? They let it, oh, a tomboy.
Not really, actually.
Wow.
Not really. No one has ever called me that.
But there's an association.
Yeah, because since I could remember in my entire schooling, it's actually easier for me to move with the guys because they always make me feel comfortable.
Why? Why do men make you feel comfortable more than women?
Basically, it's not like it's not like they make me feel more comfortable more than the woman, but most of the time, I think align with them more to some of the ladies that I was in the same class with at some point. That was my, let's say, that was way back in primary school and so.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm a sportive lady when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
I actually reduced doing so when I went to junior school and then senior school.
Yeah.
But, and funnily enough, most of the ladies I was in GMA with, almost everyone loves sport.
Yeah.
Especially the famous sport, football. Because I think most of the ladies I moved with back then in junior school and high school, they're all football fans, and they all have their teams and the like, always watching the games.
Yeah.
But one reason why the journey wasn't actually tense, difficult, I didn't actually feel the need to stand out and say, I gotta be a feminist or one or two and so and so forth.
But I don't think it's about feminism.
No, it's basically not about feminism, but I didn't see it like I need to make my voice stand out much.
Really?
Yeah, because
you didn't feel any challenges?
Because I didn't feel any challenges during my entire course.
Okay, but listen, Loka, come in here. Sometimes challenges exist, they don't quick.
Yeah, because
so
Loka wouldn't be able to say much about that because I think we were in the same class only for the first year. Because I did electrical and electronics, while she did mechanical engineering. And in my class, the guys that are there, oh my God, they were so sweet.
We
were family, basically.
I think
we were family,
so
and she can definitely attest to that.
Why xam nga duñ mëna rule out lolu because comme numa la ko waxé li dafa nek lo xamné research buñ def la. Accept ne nangu ne jigéen yi nga xamantene ñu ci STEM dafa am jafe-jafe yu metti yuñ dey go through. So duñ ko mëna rule out.
No, the jafe-jafe you guys they go through, it's actually true, and they're actually there. But luckily, man, experience.
Bo doon bëgg def engineering bi, sa parents si support nañ la fully.
Yeah, my parents actually fully supported me because at the beginning, I graduated in 2019, and I said earlier I started the engineering course in 2021.
Okay.
I was actually being convinced to do medicine for a couple of times, so I always reject it because one, I don't.
Ñoo la doon convince pour nga def medicine.
Some of my family members were actually
That's
convincing
part of the
me.
challenges. That is part of the challenges because medicine.
That's the challenge.
Doo ko dee gis waaye dafa dee it's embedded because pour ñu encourage la nga def medicine more gën than the engineering.
Yeah,
you know, the whole engineering, which is brand new to us as Gambians.
Yeah, that was because by then there was no engineering course in the Gambia, and then Corona also came after we graduated shortly.
Wow.
Shortly after graduation, and then there was no way for you to leave the country to pursue whatsoever you want to do. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why I was asked, why not you do medicine? You have a good results. Why not do medicine, nursing, or any of the courses that are actually available at the university? Because at some point, you know, as young graduates from high school, if we try to tell our parents that we wanted to do this particular course but it's not available in our university, they sometimes have the mentality of wow. Yeah, But you know, as let me say, as Gambians, because I don't know about other countries,
Yeah.
what we fail to understand is, what we fail to do is, we fail to understand what our kids are actually interested in.
Exactly.
So we tend to force them into professions that they aren't ready for.
ba pare soo nekkee jigéen nga bëgg a tukki the whole issue of yow kenn yaay dëkka.
Exactly.
bu doon góor moo bëgg a
Yeah.
dem it's okay parce que dañoo ne góor la.
Yeah,
waaye
mun na moo
jigéen
defend boppam and so on and so
Exactly,
forth.
yeah.
Yeah, that was it. But when the youth set all came together, I was actually taken. I didn't actually know about it at
Okay.
first because in my head, the only thing there was man foog ma bàyyi dëkk bi.
Wow.
Dëkk bi moom
damaa dem.
Gambia kañ tam si soona léegi daal.
I have to go.
Foog ma bàyyi dëkk bi.
Wow.
So when the whole youth set came, I was encouraged by them, and then I was told about the program by them.
Pour nga dem
Yeah,
start.
pour ma dem start ko. So when I
Okay.
started, foofu la wax bi nekk nag, especially first day bu ma demee ma gis class bu fees del. I was like, okay, maybe I just have to go to school to xam nga no benn ABCD xam luy root X fii Y fii xam nga. Let me keep my mind go so that my brain won't go lazy.
Astaghfirullah.
Because man foog ma bàyyi dëkk bi.
Wow.
So after
So you
first
wanted
year,
to just use it as a stepping stone pour génn
pour
dëkka bi.
génn dëkk bi. So
Okay.
first year, second year, I was there. I was going for classes. Alhamdulillah, I didn't fail any courses, but
Yeah.
I wasn't actually attending classes much.
Okay.
Or paying
As you
attention.
should.
As I should do 100%. I was like 75% paying attention.
50%, yeah.
Yeah, but after 2 years, I realized that lila yala dogal, bay mo talk. At the end of the day, I'm gonna get a certificate from
So
KNST
can I say
and
that
DMU.
based on, it's not fair for me to say you did it based on ñàkk a pexe, right?
No, it's not fair to say based on ñàkk a pexe, because if I had the chance to leave, I was still gonna do the same course.
But if you had the chance to leave halfway pour bàyyi dëkk bi, were you going to buy dëkk bi?
After first year, second semester, ma ne no. Li bàyyi dëkk bi ñàkka xam lu ma bëgg a def la fu mu nekk nii.
And then you stayed.
Then I
and
stayed.
Then it worked.
Then I stayed, and then I realized also that this program was gonna succeed. Because at the beginning I was like, maybe suñ demee ba ci kanam sa du work.
Okay.
But then I realized that no.
Is it because you don't believe in the system in Gambia?
Wax dëgg neex yàlla de the system in the Gambia sometimes day mooy loolu daal dang dee dem ba am ku egg ba ci kaw rek ñu daaneel la si suuf nag.
Okay. So it's a system problem.
Yeah, it's a system problem. That was it. But then
They proved you wrong.
they proved me wrong, and then during the ACE Impact, I think you were there.
Yeah, I was moderating the
You
ministerial
were, yeah,
session.
you were moderating. I don't know whether you could remember.
I can remember.
We built the smart house with the smart dustbin.
I remember. I remember.
But you know, this is Gambia. We don't believe in ourselves. We build a smart home, which is actually a new technology in the world.
Wow.
Nit ñi ñëw ñu xool ko daal nice na. We can believe Gambians are actually gonna do something like this next minute. Bagasi fa like am there. We even built a smart dustbin whereby anyone can use, whether you are for the physically able and the physically disabled.
Okay,
Because
Fatmata,
so they may be saying,
Fatmata, I can see Fatmata has a lot of things to say, which is a good thing. That's what I like. So, Loka, we were talking about the gender inequalities in STEM.
I remember some students who really wanted, we're lucky that the then GTTI was really encouraging a lot of women to be in these fields. So this is the reason why the system there, as much as it's not 100%, but you had 50% of the staff who were in for more female on the
There was
on
a
the
quota?
fields. There was no quota.
Okay.
Because we were affiliated with the KNUST.
Yeah.
And in Ghana, you have a lot of women and a lot of men applying to these, almost the same number, applying for these engineering courses.
Yeah.
So there was no quota per se.
Okay.
And we really had few women come in. And I think with the government of the Gambia, it would have been easier to now ask the KNUST to give a women quota, because we ended up graduating, I think 20 men and 8 female. Yeah, 20 males, 8 females. We ended up graduating like that, which was not the case when we started. We had at least around 12 women who
we had 4 women in our class.
Yeah, we had around 12. So basically, it's just this whole issue of people at home not supporting the engineering program. And we didn't have a problem with our lecturers disrespecting women, to be honest. We didn't have that. But, and also our mates, our colleagues, we were all the same. We were all
You know, you
treating
guys
each other.
started 60, graduated 28, right?
Sure.
Do you think there was a gender issue when it comes to the fact that part of them did not graduate, or it happened because of other reasons? What is your suspicion? Is there any gender element?
I know of one case where
Okay.
there was a gender element
Okay.
that played a role.
Okay.
Others would leave and not tell you why.
Okay.
But I know of one where they couldn't really balance a lot.
Okay.
To be honest, our program was hectic. You can't really balance the program with a lot of other things.
Okay.
It was really hectic.
Meaning marriage.
Yes, even we had married women on the program.
And they
We still
graduated.
have married women in USET on the BSc program. But the problem is not everybody at home can support you the way we are privileged to have our families aware of what these issues are also.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it's a whole different thing. And up to date, I would say with the new badges coming in,
Yeah.
we have currently
Yeah.
the 4th year, the 3rd year, the 2nd year, and the 1st year. All of those we still have few women in these courses.
Okay.
We still don't have a lot of women. So we need to really encourage more women to be on the program.
Yeah, so also now, Samuel, let's talk about the quality. All of us, you know, I would want to hear from all of you the quality of the lessons. It's a pilot, people wearing shore, and generally there's this conversation about loo xam ne xëj na du UTG. You know, I went through UTG, but I'm part of communities. I listen to conversations as a journalist, and I know people's concepts, how they see things. It is not University of the Gambia. It's USET, it's American International University. It's something different, you know, that does exist, you know. What do you think about that?
Personally, I think the quality of education that I experienced going through USET was up to standard.
Okay.
I know that our lecturers came from Ghana, from Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, which is globally recognized and is one of the best universities in Africa. And globally, right? And they brought that standard to us. And I believe that they've set a pace in USET, and once that is maintained, USET will be hopefully one of the best in Africa and globally as well.
Okay.
But personally, I think the education was great.
It was great. Fatmata, what is your take?
Basically, I guess Samuel said almost everything.
But we should
Because-
also, you know, bring out the challenges. The reason is because yen I want pilot be. It is important yen put you on the table, not in a bad way, but
Right.
just put authority system and you have
Sure.
dafa am improvements you are.
Yeah, sure. Though they gave us the quality education that we needed, and I think in 2023 they were ranked the #1 university in terms of quality education,
Right. Yeah.
which is an achievement for them and an achievement for us because we've been satisfied by them.
Yes, exactly, yes.
And then again, I won't forget about our entrepreneurship course that we did with the Demonfort University of Leicester City.
Okay.
Because we didn't only do the engineering degree. That's why Ali, I was telling you that I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
because I'm
I
an
saw that.
entrepreneurial engineer now.
Yeah.
So basically, the KNUST from their side, they did a lot, though they stretched us a lot as well, which was the reason why many have to leave the course.
Okay.
Because at the beginning, we the pioneers, we will be the ones to explain this much better because
Tell
we
us.
have class from 8 to 5,
8 o'clock, by 5 o'clock.
Yes.
from Monday to Friday, even Arjuma.
Why was that happening?
Maybe I'll go with.
Okay.
We had lecturers coming in from Ghana to lecture us. And because of the different agreements they have with the government and the World Bank,
Yeah.
they were not really stationed in the Gambia. They were not. So what happens is a lecturer comes in, and so this is for anybody who has any friend or any relative in this program, go back and double your congratulations. We had a let's say a lecturer coming in for a calculus course,
Wow.
which should be covered the entire semester. but this was covered in 2 weeks.
No.
That's Kawan 2 and 3,
Lola,
right?
don't look forward to
That's
our
Kawan 2
Lulu,
and
but I'm
3.
making. I was trying to make myself believe in Lulu.
So we covered it in 2 weeks.
What?
But they were also not comfortable with that. But this was a prior arrangement they had with top authorities in Ghana and top authorities here. So this was based on so many factors they explained, but it was to our own detriment.
Lulu was bad.
So it was not that 2 weeks we will just do calculus. That's not it.
CB 2 weeks being either for line and course.
Yeah,
Yes,
you had
and
we
we
gotta
have
do
mixed-
economics, huh?
So you can have like 2 lecturers on the ground who would cover in those 2 weeks what they're supposed to cover in the semester.
You're joking.
And with the tests and with the assignments.
And the exam?
The exam is slated for at the end of the semester.
Why all
But
the
we have-
information is given to you within 2 weeks?
So we have a break in between the lecture weeks. And so it's not like 2 weeks for everything.
Why, that's not
but
fair.
if we have like 8 weeks of lecture, just know that if you have 6 courses, the first 2 weeks you'll have 2 lecturers come in. The other 2 weeks you have 2 lecturers come in. The other 2 weeks you have 2 lecturers come in, and then you have a break, and you call it the revision week. Where now, so obviously if I'm learning mathematics or if I'm learning any maintenance engineering, if I'm doing any course or mechatronics, so you're doing that, and you definitely not going to read what you did the previous 2 weeks. You're only concentrating on this one because you have assignments to submit. You have to read and understand what was being taught in class. And the breaks were very short. The breaks were very short. So you now understand when I say people couldn't combine it with a lot of things.
Couldn't, and you cannot blame. Now I understand why from 60, 28 had to graduate.
That's why I told you earlier. During the beginning, I wanted to leave the country. They can't be fuck my back.
Wow, because of Lulu was
It was
not
hectic,
Lulu was
and
hectic,
then
that
and then
was wrong.
We were
and then we were not
frustrated.
used to it.
And you guys did not protest it?
No, the thing is,
No,
we
we
were
did.
not
It
used to
ended
the
up in the
Ghanaian
first year.
system. At first, even if we had a normal semester, we're not used to the Ghanaian system of lecturing.
And it was not brought in gradually? It was just
the
this?
only thing was for us,
Yeah.
it was brought in gradually because of the pre-engineering program.
But for
But
them,
the
For me,
majority
yeah.
came in the first year.
Yeah, but for us,
You can count those
Yeah.
who came in for the pre-engineering. And this was why by the end of the first semester, if I was used to having all A's in high school and I'm having now grades that I never saw, then I would leave and say the program is not for me. But
Yeah.
because the time frame you were taking to read and comprehend certain things in school and now is different.
But guys,
so we're 24/7 on pressure.
And it's very dangerous. So is this going to affect your performance now in the real world?
I don't think so.
Actually,
I
this
want
has
to know.
actually
I'm worried.
for me personally,
I'm worried.
Positively.
positively, because
Positively?
It
Positively.
built us to work in any challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's negative, yes. It was bad,
Yeah.
and we protested, and that was why it is changing for the 3rd batch.
It should
not the
change.
second one who would graduate next year or
Yeah.
end of this year. It's the same thing for them.
Yeah.
But the other one, it has changed. Now they have they have longer breaks, and they have their courses all over the semester, and they now have a normal semester. But these first 2 batches,
Yeah.
they went through hell.
That's
And we went through the
yeah,
7th
Fatma, you
stage
wanted
of
to
hell.
say something.
Yeah. We went beyond hell. Okay. I don't know the adjective for beyond hell, but we went beyond hell. But the challenges that we encountered actually built us for better
Industrial
experiences and the like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I'm 100% sure that wherever we are, wherever we gotta see ourselves in the future, any corner of the world, yeah, our batch, I'm sure we're actually gonna excel.
But you know, I received a message about day before yesterday on a peaceful protest scheduled to take place at the University of Applied Science, Engineering and Technology, USET. And this was in relation to the repeated postponement of their final examinations from June 9th to 29th June, then to 30th June, and now indefinitely. And the continuous delays have caused frustration, uncertainty, disruption to the academic progress and mental well-being of the students. And they're calling media houses. After I received another message to say the Vice Chancellor called them for a peaceful
Meeting
dialogue.
today.
So I wonder, did you experience those? Is this a good sign? Should we be worried?
Okay.
This is happening right
fortune-
after the graduation.
Fortunately
it's-
for us,
we didn't have
we didn't
much.
have issues like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because our lecturers are flying in from Ghana and Leicester,
Yeah.
and then they have this pre-planned and programmed with the government. I think the students that are currently protesting are from the technical
No.
department.
Okay.
Yeah, they are not actually from the College of Engineering.
Okay.
But I think because most of them are all affected by the sit-down strike of the lecturers. So this is because I think most of the universities here face the same problem. Once the Teachers Association calls for a strike,
It applies.
then it affects all their exams. Even the drivers are on strike. So every other person is just affected.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing. But we didn't have issues like that.
So what
We had a meeting,
Yeah.
I could remember, our first, second year, where we just wanted to know if the program would really
Happen.
would
And
really.
you were assured.
We were assured. That meeting was attended by the director of science and technology. Is it science and technology? Of
Mohas.
Mohas. And then we had our own. By then, you said was just changing. We had a director. Then we had other staff, other senior staff who. It was really more or less when we call for meetings like that.
Yeah.
It's heated, but at the end of the day, we got to understand that this would work because
And
they saw that we wanted it to work. They had to put in their
it
all
together.
to ensure it works.
So how about the whole comparison of UTG? That exists. When I say, you guys know what I'm saying. You know, if
Nah.
it's not UTG, it's not it.
Actually,
Because Gambia's probably...
It does exist.
It does
It
exist.
does.
Because I'm going to have Gambia doesn't mean
Mane,
UTG lañ fi yaga am.
mane,
This is for the first
gars
time.
UTG ñu ne ñun duñ graduate.
Waxoon nañ ko fi.
ñu ne they have engineering under the UTG, so why not build a different engineering university and call it USET?
So ñanga wax loolu xale yi yéen i neen.
The students we heard from and
We've been
yeah.
hearing it.
But
Okay.
again,
Yeah.
Why
again,
foog leen-
even few
maybe it's just
lecturers have
practic-
said it during their lectures. Yes.
You know, it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, and then a lot of people we are like, Lee, do work. So do work, bobu. Made a lot of people do work new ba. So they gotta leave the program.
Okay.
They left.
And just to add to what Kale said
Yeah.
earlier, the program was really rigorous. And I think every one of us that has graduated does need to be congratulated, like Loka has said.
Twice.
Because we were put under pressure, so every one of us that experienced the classes learned to deal with pressure. So I think going forward in life, there's a certain perspective that we have.
Yeah.
So whether it's at work, whether it's dealing with people,
Yeah.
whatever it is, there's a certain way that we would apply what we've learned to the real world. So
Okay.
I don't think we're affected
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah, so the whole UTG thing, you believe it did contribute to people leaving, which is very unfortunate. And I don't think there should be any competition.
Yeah, because you know during the start of the program, some of the students at the USET were also attending the UTG
At the same time.
at the same time. So you go into the UTG, and some of your students and lecturers will be like, you not get wasted time. So you said bagasi do work, dafa fail. So at some point you're gonna be bala ma yaxa suma pass bi di dem ak a ñëw.
Baal ma
ma
toog
toog si boo xamante ne establish nañ ko ba pare.
And it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think even when we were doing some exhibitions or so, when we were in third year, we still had the issue of they're just going to learn few things and call it engineering.
They said that. That's
Yeah,
sad.
they're just going to learn few things and call it engineering. And I think one time there was someone who didn't know I was in the engineering because I don't think a lot of people knew.
Man, I never knew. You're such a you keep things.
So
When I saw you graduating, I'm like, this girl never told me this.
When did this happen?
When did this happen? Me and her have had sessions on here, and she's never mentioned it to me. So I'm like, what is this?
yeah, things happen like that.
Yeah.
Things happen. We keep certain things on a low.
Yeah, but it's
But
fine.
I remember the one time there was a particular person who said, even the courses we're actually doing, isn't it better to have UTG lecturers come in? And I said, no disrespect. No disrespect. UTG is extremely good. UTG is extremely fantastic.
Yeah.
But the ones tutoring us are pronounced best in Africa. They're pronounced best in West Africa. They're like, anywhere you go in the world and you present a KNUST certificate, it is held like, you know, you just had a golden certificate. This is something, it's not about us. For me, I think it's the bigger picture.
Yeah, and for me, it shouldn't even be a competition. For me, the comparison shouldn't even exist, isn't it?
I can tell you for a fact now that even with all of that being said, USET still went back to UTG and said, hey, we're doing A, B, and C. We need your guidance on this. Because you are an established state university. And there's another state university, you should work together. So definitely,
there's no competition
there
or
shouldn't
belittling.
And I'm very happy that MOHAS is not really creating any gap.
They shouldn't
They're bridging the gap, and they would even tell you, you can get this from UTG, or UTG, you can get this from USET. And so if the students are watching, you see right now, we're still processing the whole 2 weeks syllabus also. Don't get us started with Langenjanga. Because if we go down that lane, it wouldn't be nice.
So Fatimata, you talked about the fact that you guys had exhibitions at the event that I was moderating, where the World Bank came down and ministerial sessions were held and different sessions, and an exhibition took place. You talked about coming up with a bin that persons with disability could utilize and all of that, and you said the concentration was never given to it for you guys to develop it further. Why was that?
I think everything goes back to one of our main problems as Gambians. We don't tend to recognize our brothers and sisters that are trying to develop stuffs. We always China la jóge, America la jóge, England la jóge. But if you look at things properly, manufacturing things in your country locally is actually cheaper than importing those stuffs. And then when we talk about employment again, it's a way of creating employment opportunities for your people, rather than just importing the things and the like.
So you guys developed this and it worked?
Yeah, it definitely worked. Because Ace Impact actually had a coverage of the entire thing. I could remember they posted it on their website. Because when it comes to the smart dustbin, you don't need to open it. With all these viruses and the like.
COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever you want to throw a trash in the bin, you just go near the bin. It opens by itself, and then you just dump whatever you want to dump, and then you can go back.
And we should have that in large scale in the Gambia.
Sure. In fact, we need those in the hospital. Especially in the operation theaters and the like, you know. Again, with the smart house also, we were able to build it in such a way that you just have to control it with your phone. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah, you just have to control it with your phone.
And that happened.
That happened.
You guys, it was exhibited.
It was actually exhibited.
And nothing was done after that.
In fact, it was presented to the minister.
The president.
The president was there.
The president
was there.
of the republic. The late vice president,
Badara
Diouf, who made the program a success.
To be honest.
He did well.
He fought. He actually fought for it. He actually fought for it. Yeah, it was presented to them and other Pan-African representatives for the exhibition.
But nothing after that. But as students, what did you do to make it something? Did you guys come up with a proposal to make it large scale? Because sometimes it comes back to us. We
have a unit. We have a unit at the school. We have a unit at the school.
We did that in third year. Any engineering student.
Second year.
End of second year going to third year.
We did it in second year.
And any engineering student will tell you second and third year is no-go area. But even with that, we had different stuff. This was not the only two that was done. But because they were the most outstanding, they were taken to the exhibition. But again, even if at the exhibition I see 100 Gambians, and all those who are questioning about these things are from Ghana,
Gambians,
Cameroon, also they just come and take picture. Nice, and they go. But the people who really wanted to inquire about these things were not Gambians.
That's
exactly. And then
how would you get the zeal to continue?
Even our lecturers from Ghana who were able to grace the occasion, we are like, I'm surprised. You guys are just second year students.
And
How
you
can
were
you
able
guys
to
come
do
up
this?
with this
Yeah.
and then you guys were able to build up this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
It's definitely is.
We might
Yeah.
look
into this.
look into certain things we can do together as a team.
Okay.
But definitely, it would require us doubling the courage we had to start the program, or even doubling the faith we have in Gambia.
Yeah.
Because definitely, it will be shattered again and again.
Yeah, that is very
As we
true.
speak, a lot of people, a lot of us in this badge, don't have guaranteed employment yet. So what do you want us to do, to be
So
the first
right-
homegrown engineers,
Wow.
and then we fly
Man,
out?
that was going to be so silan ngeen nekk.
Some are on attachments, some are lucky to have employment. The rest are still scouting.
Yow moom am na fu ma la gis yow.
Man,
Waaw.
déedéet nekkuma fa.
Waaye dama la fa gis.
Foofu nekkuma fa.
Loo faa def?
Nekkuma fa.
Lan nga faa def kon?
Nekkuma fa. Dag ma gis.
Dama la fa
Ma ne la
gis.
nekkuma fa.
Waa baax na. So, okay.
So things like this happen. But again, we have government institutions. We have other institutions that are engineering focused. We are only 28. The way you keep homegrown is for one company to say, or one authority to say, I'm going to keep 5. Another to say, I'll keep 5. If not, it's going to just die out and we leave the country.
Okay, Samuel, are you working somewhere right now?
Yes, I am. But to add to what Loka said, it's not like we're just sitting around and waiting for people to come and pick us up. There are many of us that are going around looking for jobs, doing side jobs, using their engineering knowledge
Where
to
do you work right
make
now?
an impact. I work at an eco-friendly recycling company.
Okay.
It's a newly started company in the Gambia, so not very well known.
Okay, but is it paying the bills?
Yes, it's paying the bills. It's all right. I mean, it's a start. I don't want to take things for granted, but where we are at now, there is definitely room to move forward. Yeah.
Fatoumata, are you working somewhere?
Yeah, currently I am.
Where?
I'm currently at the 23 megawatts peak solar plant at Dambur.
Okay. The ones that the Chinese are
Yeah.
running.
I'm actually working under the Chinese company.
Okay. The existing Chinese company there. And how is it going?
Alhamdulillah, going well. Learning new things every day. Yeah, trying to gather some experiences
Okay.
for furthering the education and see what to specialize on. basically.
Furthering the education, mooy génn dëkk bi. Dëkk bi daal foog nga génn ko.
No, dëkk bi foog ñu génn ko indi new technology.
Yow daal dëkk bi daal foog nga dugg ak
Waaye
clean.
dëkk bi xam nga
Anga
amagul
dëkk
masters.
bi,
So ñun
réglé
ñoo
leen.
ko masters.
Dëkk bi.
Léegi ngeen graduate.
We want to stay. That's why we're saying employ leen
gis
ñu.
nga gis nga after graduation bi.
Waaw.
Man, to be honest, loolu foog ma wax ko. Man Chef Bojang, num ñu welcome daal si restaurant bi.
Waaw.
Daa am maanaa.
Waaw.
Loolu waa foog ñu wax
Dama
ko.
kontaan ba jooy.
Waaw da nga jooy ba wadda.
Man
Da nga
passé naa
waddoon
woon.
da nga taxaw da nga wadda.
Suñ waxee ne
Waaw.
yeneen Gambien support uñ boole wuñ si chef.
Waaw.
Parce que oo nañu dina
For free.
ñu dem toog loolu kañ free la.
Mu oyal ñu.
Mu ooyal ñu Barhama Cham mu wéyal ñu toog lekka ba
Support
suur.
na homegrown.
Waaw.
Masha
Def na
Allah,
loolu moom.
support na
Def na
homegrown.
loolu moom.
Waaw.
He knows what it takes to be an engineer because he is a menu engineer.
mu jox leen ay lobster man yéen ñeme ngeen man yéen musuma gis engineering man dem naa tukki naa gis naa ay place waaye musuma gis engineering yu caprice.
Kañ ñuñ mi.
waaw yéen da ngeen caprice de.
Yàlla baax na.
Loka, I guess we are from the Gen Z generation.
But anyway, Loka, final words. We have just some few minutes to go. You know, what are you looking forward to? You talked about employability. There's just a lot.
There's a lot, and there's a lot you can do to support just the 28 homegrown engineers. Whether you have a contract at home or you have an engineering company or you work at any of the authorities that are linked to engineering,
Ministry of
just let us
Transport
know,
Works.
and we have people that are seeking jobs. Keeping them in the country would keep the history alive, but allowing them to travel would mean we would lose our very first homegrown. And congratulations to the entire team. We did it.
Yeah, you did it. And to the valedictorian, congratulations once again.
Sir.
It was not easy.
Thank you.
Sure.
It wasn't easy at all. I'm sitting here with two powerful women. They've said a lot, but they're also part of the reason why I was able to make it this far.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to now?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the Gambia being better, and I know that we have a role to play, and we're not going to sit down and wait for an opportunity to be given to us. We're going to knock on doors, we're going to bang on doors, we're going to make sure that our voice is heard and that the change we want to bring is felt.
And recycling, it's a future. There's a future in recycling.
Huge
Huge
future
in recycling. So Fatmata, you're under the Chinese company that is supporting Gambia, as part of China Gambia Corporation. It's amazing. How do you see that technology, and you work there, you're talking about gathering experience, finally, before we leave?
Yeah, the place is actually fine. The people there that are working there are also friendly.
Yeah.
They're always willing to answer your questions and clear your doubts. It's actually an honor for me to be part of such a great team, actually. And because solar is actually something that's new in our country, we're used to the thermal system of generation. So now that we are actually inventing into the solar, it's actually good because we have a whole lot of sun irradiation.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, it's a very, 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 very great opportunity for me. Yeah, to be.
And good luck.
Thank
What
you.
congratulations.
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
And
10 times.
Congratulations.
Take your flowers.
Congratulations to my entire family. My backbenchers at the electrical class. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
Congratulations. This is an amazing thing. So masters in what now?
The
The same thing? Any other thing? Quickly, we have a minute.
Yeah, for masters, I'm actually thinking about.
There's no time. You're thinking of?
I'm actually thinking about going more into renewables because if I leave, I gotta come back to the country.
How about you?
I'm looking at a master's in aerospace.
Engineering management.
All right, that is all we have time for till we come your way next week. Bye for now. You guys were alive.